Hey everyone, this is Rob here, and I want to take a moment and give you a 2-minute message that I hope and pray that encourages you. So today I want to try to encourage you from the Apostle Paul's writing to the Philippian church in a verse that's often misunderstood and misused. But I think if we can develop and understand and dig up what it actually means, I think you'll be encouraged. So let me read the verses to you and we'll get into this idea of being content and what does true friendship look like. So Paul, writing the Philippian church, he says, I rejoiced in the Lord greatly that now at length you have revived your concerns for me. You were indeed concerned for me, but you had no opportunity. Not that I am speaking of being in need, for I have learned in whatever situation I am to be content. I know how to be brought low, and I know how to abound. In any and every circumstance I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need. And I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I know personally that's one of my struggles. I struggle with being content. It's so easy to look around us and see what everyone else has. And I think we can do well to learn about the contentment we have in Christ and the strength that is found there. You know, now we're facing these uneasy times, trying to figure out, should we go out, should we stay in? Should we go to work, should we stay home? Should we have people over, should we not have people over? And I know there's a lot of worry. And I think the one thing that the Lord has been teaching me, the Lord's saying to me, Rob, trust me. Be content in what I have. And I think this is a great time to hit the pause button in our lives because everything's been stripped away. And we have to find out and look deep into our heart of hearts and understand, what is it that brings us contentment? Where do we find our hope and trust? Do we put it in the Lord? You see, Paul was in this situation where he was probably in prison at the writing of this, and he's thinking back to the church in which he loved. And the theme of this book is joy. And he's talking about their partnership with him in the gospel. And he comes to this moment and he talks about how they had helped him through all seasons. And whether he had little, whether he was in poverty, didn't know what meal he was going to eat that day, or he had abundance. He had plenty of food, plenty of provision. What he says is this. He says, in every circumstance, he's found this, that he can do all things through Christ who gives him strength. You see, Christ is the key factor who gives us strength, who empowers us, who enables us to get up and breathe that very breath, to live the lives before us. And if we put our hope and our trust on the government, our hope and trust on the church to fulfill our needs, we're missing the point. The point is that we put our trust, our heart, our faith, our lives in the very hands of the God who created us. You know, Paul talks about contentment, and maybe it seems out of place, and maybe it doesn't, but I know this, that as I read what the Stoics wrote about this, the goal for the Stoic was that a man should be sufficient unto himself for all things, and able by the power of his own will to resist the force of circumstances. The Stoic philosopher Seneca, he advocated the goal of being content. He said, the happy man is content with his present lot, no matter what it is, and is reconciled to his circumstances. This is going on to Paul's friendship with the Philippians. He wants them to understand that his friendship with them has nothing to do with whether they send him support and money and financial help, but his friendship is based on his relationship with Jesus. You see, friendship, so often we base it on utilitarian ideas. Our friendships and our marriages and everything else, our relationships are based on usually two things. Can I receive pleasure from this? And can I have my needs met? But you see, the problem when we base our friendships and our contentment on whether or not we receive pleasure or receive gifts from other people is as soon as the pleasure and the gifts and the needs stop, that friendship also stops. You see, Paul's getting at a bigger picture. He's saying, the Philippian church, you are actually my friends, whether you support me or not. I've learned to be content in Christ. I've found my strength in Christ, whether I have much or have little. I think you and I would do well in this day and age to learn as we have to hit pause on life, if we have to reevaluate our priorities. And what are our relationships built on? Are they built on what we can get from one another, or are they built on the way that we serve and love one another? I love seeing people right now trying to figure out, how can I serve my neighbors? How can I serve the elderly in my community? Can I go grocery shopping for them? Can I bring them an extra roll of toilet paper? This is what the church was intended to be. And so my encouragement to you is, as I read this from Paul, as I digest it in my own heart, is, can you and I learn to be content with what God has given us? But can we long to serve one another and find our contentment in who Christ has called us to be? And I hope you all are hanging in there. I want you to know you are loved and you are cared about. This church cares about you, we care about you, and there are people in your life that care about you. So you guys have a great week, and stay tuned for the next episode.